Do you have a job? Shame it won't help you in the future. What about basic morals and a sense of self-preservation? Sorry, the rest of the world hates you. Why? Antibiotics. Specifically, antibiotics used in livestock. Although the use of these antibiotics is very widespread, it most certainly should not be. The high cost and ethical indignity of antibiotics means that we should not continue using them in livestock. First off, any benefits gained by antibiotics is fickle and futile compared to the high cost. First of all, one of the biggest arguments against banning antibiotics is that the cost of meat will increase, and that if you use antibiotics, the meat will grow faster, it'll be cheaper, and the prices will be kept down for consumers. But according to Brad Plumer, in his article, "The FDA is cracking down on antibiotics on farms. Here's what you should know. The cost will only increase $5 to $10 per person," which I know my opponent also cited. This is similar to information found in the National Academy Press's book, The Use of Drugs in Food Animals, Benefits and Risks, which says that the cost of meat would only increase about 4 cents per pound, which really isn't a lot considering the effects that we know antibiotic resistance can cause. But if you don't believe that the prices of meat could be that low, think about what else you could be spending your money on. Antibiotic resistance means that we have to find new antibiotics to fight bacteria that already exist. These new antibiotics, according to the Infectious Diseases Society of America, or IDSA, their paper Bad Bugs, No Drugs, these antibiotics run up to $800 million to $1.7 billion in creation, which is about $60 per person. Considering that $60 is pointless if we ban antibiotics, you could just as easily take it out of your pocket, just tear it up, throw it in the wind. But it's your choice. You can spend $10 extra on your meat, or you can spend $60 extra on your antibiotics. Money notwithstanding, though, we have to consider the ethics of antibiotic use. First off, antibiotics are the reason that factory farms can exist. Factory farms, as my partner explained, are when large amounts of animals are crammed together in conditions that probably aren't safe for them, according to Grace Communications Foundation and their website, Antibiotics. These animals are kept in horrible conditions, which often include standing and laying in their own waste, which obviously causes sickness. So to prevent that, farmers give them low doses of antibiotics called subtherapeutic antibiotics. But these antibiotics are causing bacterial resistance, which means that they are actually they're not achieving the goal they're looking for. They're furthering it. They're furthering the bacterial problem that they have. But if you don't care about the animals, you probably still care a little bit about yourself, which is why self-preservation comes in. A lot of people say that it's okay to use antibiotics because we don't know the full effects, but we do. We know about antibiotic resistance, and it's happening right now. The CDC paints a really nice picture of what's going to happen in their website feature, Antibiotic Resistance from the Farm to the Table. So imagine that there's a farm of chickens, and they're being given antibiotics to combat streptococcus infections. Now the waste from those chickens, which contains bacteria that is resistant to the antibiotics, goes into our groundwater and it goes into our soil. And let's say that tomatoes are grown in that soil, and they're watered with the water that also has that bacteria in it, and you eat those tomatoes. You're consuming bacteria that is resistant to antibiotics, and the next thing you know, you're lying in a hospital with a strep throat that can't be cured. It's not okay that our morals are preventing us. It's not okay that we don't have enough morals to prevent us from doing this. Is it ethical to hurt ourselves? The moral cost isn't worth it. In conclusion, the moral and ethical costs of antibiotics clearly indicate that we should cease using the drugs. First of all, the cost of new antibiotics is ridiculously higher than the cost of ceasing the use in meat. Second, the ethics are questionable at best and horrific at worst. And also we have to take into account the human health and animal health risks that are proposed by antibiotics. So start filling up your bank, save yourself a hospital bed, because you're going to be needing it soon.